Hey, movie fans. The first thing I want to talk about is the actor who played Aladdin in the 2019 film with Will Smith deleted his Twitter account. And I'll be honest, I read what he said, and it just didn't sound bad for me personally. Like, somebody asked him about, do they think Little Mermaid is going to make a billion? And he said, how he doesn't think it will. All movie did was because we had people kept going back to it, and I didn't think anything he said was bad. And I also just think the fact that he has to delete his Twitter account. This is what I hate about fans, and the fans keep getting worse at this when it comes to how toxic fans can be. Like, I don't understand why Little Mermaid fans got all pissed off. I already said, look, do I think he should have answered that question? No, because the movie hasn't come out yet. Probably shouldn't have answered that question. But I didn't think what he said sounded all that bad. And I just think Little Mermaid fans, I'm like, grow up. Like, don't you have anything else to do besides go on Twitter? And just this is like I hate how toxic fans are lately, and fans seem to get worse and worse. And this is why I also hate Twitter because I think sometimes on Twitter people can be dicks, and it's just like I also want to say this as a side note. That guy's a great actor, and I really wish he went on to do more stuff after Aladdin because he was great as Aladdin. It sucks that he made a villain out of film and he hasn't really been seen in much of anything since then. But yeah, back to the point though, is this look, fans need to just sometimes this is what I feel like I need to say to fans sometimes is just get a life. In fact, yes, leaves Twitter account, and this reminds me of the actress from Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, who was I can't remember the name of the character, but she was kind of the love interest for Finn in Last Jedi. How people hated her character, and she deleted her Twitter account. I just think this is my opinion is the ugly side of fans, how toxic they can be, and all it does is make you, if you're a Little Mermaid fan, all it does is make you look bad. Like I just think it's stupid, ridiculous, and just shows how bad fans can be at times. The next thing I want to talk about is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 only had a 47% drop, and I think that Infinity was the third lowest drop for MCU movie, 47, like it had like a 47 48% drop. I love hearing this. I love the fact that it sounds like I love the fact that Guardians 3 has legs and it looks like people are going back to see it multiple times because it's a great movie. Like, for me, it's up there with The Wizard of Guardians and the Holiday Special, one of my favorite comic movies. Definitely the best comic movie this year so far. And I also want to talk about this because to me, this brings up the idea that when people say people are tired of comic book fatigue, I would say this is an example that shows no, they're not. There isn't comic book. People are tired of comic book movies. There isn't comic book fatigue. What people are tired of is mediocre movies. To me, if you just make a great comic book movie like Guardians 3, then people will show up. It will make money. I and a lot of and just the recent comic book movies have been mediocre. Like Thor: Love and Thunder. The reason they didn't make as much money as Thor Ragnarok. The reason why Ant-Man Lost had a second drop, it had like a 70% drop in the second week. The reason why Shazam didn't make as much money as the first Shazam or have a bigger opening. In fact, Shazam 2 was one of the lowest grossing DC films. And then you had Black Adam. Like those movies not doing not doing well has nothing to do with specifically people getting tired of comic movies. It has to do with people get tired if you make mediocre movies. And that's any type of genre, whether it be Western, horror, action, romantic comedies. If you make a bunch of movies in a specific genre in a row that just are okay, and look, film is subjective. If you love one of those four movies, that's great. But if you make an okay movie, most people aren't going to go back and see it a second time in theaters. It's not going to have the legs. It's not. I think that's the thing people like to me when people say comic fatigue. I'm like, no. You look at Guardians 3, people aren't tired of comic book movies. They're just tired of specifically mediocre movies. Those four movies were mediocre, in my opinion. I didn't hate any of them, but they were okay movies. Like I didn't feel the need to go back and see them a second time in theaters. So I'm not somebody that I never believed in comic fatigue. I just think, as long as you make great movies, people will come. If you make, And it's just like, and it's for like any type of comic movies, like Marvel, DC, or other companies make comic movies. If you're making great comic movies, that means people will have interest to go back to keep going back to see comic book movies. If you make mediocre comic book movies, then yes, people will get tired of comic book movies. But it's not comic book movies specifically. It's just specifically making mediocre movies. But yeah, just I'm glad you already see his holding having legs. The next thing I want to talk about is they announced a Freaky Friday sequel. I love hearing this because I love the Freaky Friday movie with Lazy Olahan and Jamie Lee Curtis. That's one of my favorite movies. And yeah, they might have waited too long. And the one worry I have is that the whole idea of the body shop could get played out in the sequel. So I hope they have like a fresh spin on it. But I'm excited for this sequel. It could be end up being one of the sequels years later that sucks, but it could end up being a fun with great sequel. So I'm personally really excited for this sequel. Next thing I want to talk about is Transformers box office. Rise of the Beast. I did put out the box office distance for us and make like 30 to 40. And when we say box office distance, sometimes they'll off, sometimes they'll right on point, sometimes they're high when the movie comes out. Obviously, it's too early to tell, but I'm not surprised about these box office positions because the Transformers franchise kind of petered out. Like, I enjoyed the first Michael Bay Transformer movie. It wasn't great, but it was fun. And then the sequels just sucked. Like, the first Transformers movie, Michael Bay one, made like 70 open wise, and then made like over 700 worldwide. And then Rise of the Fallen made like 109, made a billion. Dark of the Moon made like 98, something like that. Made a billion, and then Ace of Assassin made 100, and then made a billion. Then you had it last night when it was showed people got tired of Michael Bay's Transformers movie because it only made 44 opening wise and made like 600 something. And then Bumblebee had the lowest opening for a Transformers movie, which is a great movie, which is so much better. Like it still made money, 469, but didn't make the type of money that Michael Bay's first four movies did. But that does, and Bumblebee paid the price of showing that people got tired out. And I still would have preferred if they did a Bumblebee sequel. Even though I love Beast Wars, I'm excited because I'm a Beast Wars fan. But I'm not surprised by these box office for distance. I do think the trailers have kind of made it look like like it's going back to Michael Bay style Transformers, and I really hope that's not the case. Because one reason why I thought Bumblebee was great and the only great movie in the franchise because it had a lot of heart and it to me had a great story characters you care about. So yeah, I'm not surprised by the box office resistance for this movie. Next thing I want to talk about is the director of Transformers Rise of the Beast saying he went to Michael Bay for the VFX stuff. I think that's cool to hear because, Michael Bay did start the Transformers franchise, and even though I couldn't tell what the hell half the time was going on with the action scenes in the Transformers sequels, when you couldn't tell which Transformers was, but VFX wise, the effects look great in this movie. That's the one thing I can't say bad about the Transformers sequels. His effects look great. So I thought it was cool to hear he went back to Michael Bay. Hopefully that doesn't mean hopefully that doesn't mean this is gonna like turn into another. It's gonna go back to the Michael Bay style Transformers stuff because I don't want to see that honestly. But it was cool to hear that he went back to ask him for help with the VFX stuff. So I thought that was just nice to hear. And the next thing I want to talk about is the Hellboy movie finished shooting, and the Hellboy creator gave his blessing to the director and crew. This does make me a little bit excited. I got the blessing from the creator. Because, I love the Guillermo two Hellboy movies. Still hate that we never got his Hellboy 3. The David Hellboy one sucked. So I want to see a great Hellboy movie again. The only thing that makes me worried about this movie is the director choice when it comes to, like, the guy who did the Crank movies and Ghostwire Spear Events. I'm not a fan of the Crank movies. I know a lot of people had fun with those movies, but I think personally, I just think they sucked. They didn't work for me personally. And Ghostwire Spear Events, I think, is one of the worst comic book movies. So, it does have my worries, like, go down a little bit. The fact that Hellboy creator gave his blessing. But I'm still a little worried with the choice of the director. But at the end of the day, I'm excited for this as a Hellboy fan. And I think that's all the news, movie fans. So we'll see you later.